He's not paying any attention.
Well,
No.
I'm finishing up Marlene's good work here.
Thanks. Sue Ellen and I had a chance to spend a couple hours going through it yesterday.
Oh, great, yeah.
I got a few comments, but I have a hard time putting it in writing on the drafts and stuff. But and most of them are, there's only like 3 or 4, and some of them are just like a misspelling almost. So
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll just, if you
When-
find it, just tell me where it is.
I got
You don't have to edit the doc, just send an email.
okay. Well, first of all, we want to do it now. I sent you a couple of comments on the history of 120 acres of.
Oh, that was the other thing we wanted.
I don't know if we want to put that in there, but I also found another thing. It cost $125,000 to build it. I mean, that's historical stuff.
Yeah.
If we could stick that in there somewhere. Hi, Sue Ellen.
Hi,
Hi
Sue Ellen.
there, how you doing?
Hi,
Good, how are
Sue.
you? Welcome.
Thank you.
Uh-oh, you got a cold?
Me?
Yeah. Oh, no,
No,
you're getting better now. Okay.
nope, just allergies.
Okay. Well, same thing, right? Same
Not
result.
really.
Same result.
Same
Yeah,
result, always.
So getting back to that, Marlene, if you want to put that in there somewhere, $125,000 cost as well. And actually further on in the document there,
Sorry.
talking about being a small area, like 371 acres. That might be a good spot to put. The surface area of the water is 120 acres. I'm not sure what page that was on though.
Okay, I know where it is.
Just to let them know that even though it's 371 acres, 120 acres is water, which even makes the land around it even smaller, I would guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And on page 4, I have on 4. Oh, we're talking about the filtration that requires will ensure that Whiting Street Reservoir will maintain its standby. Are we recommending them to filter this non-potable offline water supply?
No,
No,
we're
Almost.
reporting. We're reporting on it. That's what I was told. That is
Yeah.
inevitable. That is inevitable.
But we're saying that the filtration requirements will ensure that the Whiting Street Reservoir will maintain its standby public water status. I don't think you need filtration to be up standby. So I'm not sure that's worded quite right.
oh, okay,
You see what I mean?
I see where you are. Just make sure we're correct here, saying the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we want to tell them that they're going to be spending $50 million to have a reservoir offline. And on page 5, way down near the bottom, we're talking about the different studies.
Yeah.
And Mount Tom Power Plant, it should be, I think, Power Plant,
Right.
correct? That makes sense?
Yeah, we're looking for it.
The bottom of page 5, we're talking about all the reports that were done. And the
Yep.
third from the bottom, Mount Tom Power Plant, I think is right.
It is plant, got it.
And somewhere else on here. I don't remember. Oh, okay.
See, it's a good thing somebody reads what I type.
Okay, on page 7, my last comment here, I hope. Surrounding area considerations, back in there, we're talking Wyckoff Country Club, and we have their Wyckoff Park Country Club, and it hasn't been Park Country Club since Marco had it,
Oh,
so it's
I
just
don't, where is that?
surrounding area considerations, page 7.
Oh, man, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's somewhere else in there, we have
Thank
just,
you for catching that, Harry.
yeah.
Oh, my God. It's
Yeah.
right on the list.
Yeah, well, I think I tried to put it on my written comments one time, but I guess I didn't know how to do it right.
Well, there, all done.
All right, that's my comments for the moment. But I need to get some water, so don't run away.
Hi, Swellen.
Hi there.
How you doing? I have the sun today. Trying to get a good angle on the sun.
Oh.
Don't you have a shade on that window?
No, I think I'm gonna need one. I don't think so, but maybe. Ooh. I helped it a little.
What's out of your eyes at the moment?
Yeah. I helped it a little.
Did you all get the photos, by the way?
Yes.
Yes, I particularly love the photo of the gate, the entry.
Oh, yeah, the old arch. That's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
I think that ought to be our cover.
I do too. That's just what I thought.
Yep, me too, or me three.
And I remember going under that thing when we were kids walking up
Absolutely.
Reservoir and
Yeah.
Mountain. But unfortunately, there's only a little bit of it left.
That's true. So I have not heard that anybody else is or is not coming. So not heard from Kip, not heard from Jeff.
Well, I think Kate has a planning board meeting,
Okay,
and Kip's probably in Rhode Island
Yeah, I would think so.
Swimming in the water,
or sailboating.
sailboating.
Yeah. Kayaking, yeah. That's
And
where
in
Marlene
either case, I'm certainly jealous.
Yeah.
So I sent around, Sue Ellen and I tried to make all the changes. I think I got most of them. Harry had a couple of important like word typo misspellings and stuff that I had in there that I caught that I can redo.
Okay.
Like the Mount Tom power plan should be a plant.
Yeah,
So
I
he
must
actually read
admit that one should never copy read their own writing.
Absolutely.
I agree.
So it's good to have lots of other people read it and check.
Exactly.
There's Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, everyone. Sorry to be
Hello.
late.
Hello.
No worries.
So what did I miss?
We're done.
Yeah.
That sounds like great news.
Yeah,
But we're not.
Sue Ellen and I spent a couple hours together, edited. So what you got this afternoon was our edited version of that. There was one area of things we wanted to talk about
Okay, great.
Um,
Go for it.
on the recommendation number 3. Like one of the things we said was we wanted them to consider doing a Valley bike share stop there.
Right.
And we decided, safety reasons, we think that's just not a good idea. Even for access, because we don't want kids going in and out of there on electric bikes.
Absolutely right.
So we need to be careful to just, manual 2-wheel, regular old bikes are good, but we
Right.
don't want to encourage any of that other stuff.
So I saw Kate's response. I saw Harry's
Yeah.
comments about that, and I agreed with those. But then Kate came back and said, "Well, we should still have the bus stop." So, so what's the?
So that was the other thing. I think we're comfortable if there's a bus stop on Route 5. But the problem with a Route 5, with a bus stop on 141 is that there's no crosswalk.
Oh, no, it's not an option on 141 without major
Oh,
change.
it's
Major
so
traffic
dangerous.
changes.
So
It's
So
just
that,
not.
that should all be part of the master plan process, not part of our recommendation.
Right, exactly. The day might come where the bus might go into some portion of the Wyckoff parking lot. And there could be a transit area right there, but 141 is awful.
That
Yeah,
just,
and the feeling was that the safety considerations were such that we wanted to leave it out, number one. And number two, we felt that that was really something for the master plan
Yes.
when it was
Glad to hear
written to get into, and not for us to be discussing or recommending.
I
It
agree.
it just seemed outside of our purview.
Absolutely.
I think that it's an area-wide consideration for all of those involved to figure that out.
Yep.
The best possible place to put it, and it's probably needed, but I don't think it's needed just at the reservoir, because like what we said, it's just almost impossible to make it work.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bad spot to start out with, and I can't tell you how many times I've gulped driving over to East Hampton and finding people walking out into the street. It just
Oh, yes.
scary.
So what I'm hearing is we would continue to recommend the Route 5 side, but we wouldn't recommend the 140.
right. Because it's already there. There should be access. PVTA goes right by Route 5.
Right. And
Yeah, that's safe too.
and so would it just be on Route 5, or would they actually drive up on the access road? Again, it would be pretty hard to turn a
Well,
bus around.
That's a master.
Yeah.
I think that's like a master plan thing again.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think right now, Jeff, you're out of money. If they can't go up the road because they couldn't turn around, that will make them reluctant to do it. There's so much area there at the base of our old access road that there's plenty of nice, safe places to drop and pick up.
But it would have to be arranged that as soon as you put the space there, people will park in it. That's the other issue.
No, I mean just for the bus to.
Right. Well, I know, but
Yeah.
Exactly. As soon as you put it there, someone will park there.
So all right. So I'm good. So I think that's wise. I saw the conversation.
Just a question here, not that it's be part of our plan, but does the bus go to the reservation?
No, it just goes by the bottom.
It goes by at the bottom. It actually goes by on 141 too, but
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But the
They do have-
48 bus goes up Lincoln Street, over Northampton Street, stops at the top of Wyckoff if there's someone there.
Okay,
And stops at the bottom of Wyckoff Park if there's someone there on the reverse trip. Runs
Okay.
all day, runs to nice hours.
where's it go to Northampton?
Yeah, it goes to the
Yeah.
Oh,
Academy.
that's the one I see on Route 5, okay,
Does,
Yeah.
okay.
does any bus go to Log Cabin?
No, there's
Yeah,
a
it
way
goes
to go
by-
to East, the way to go to East Hampton on a bus and come back on 141. You'd have to go to Northampton first and then go through East Hampton to come back. I looked at that yesterday.
Go around Route 10.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
or on 10.
Hmm.
But Route 5 is worth mentioning if we get into if you want to mention the bus.
I think I'll just be sort of loose here on how we word it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause all of a sudden we're expanding this and we don't want to expand it, I don't think.
Right. Transportation should be, how about transportation should be developed as part of the master planning
Yeah.
process,
Right,
so that they can figure out safe public transportation options.
Yeah, but figure a way to say that concisely, yeah, I agree with that.
I'll do that.
That's good.
So you don't think it's worth saying, again, I don't have an opinion here on this actually, but you don't think it's worth saying
No, well, I think we should say they definitely should have it, but it's not up to us to figure out like where or what or how.
okay.
So that should be part of the planning process, that transportation access, safe pedestrian access to that is made part of that. We encourage that.
Yeah.
I just wonder, the whole issue with, the underserved communities though, is they travel by
Well,
bus.
they could always take like a taxi or Uber, or people can always do that.
They,
Well, I
they can't
think-
afford, the folks we're talking about, though, can't afford.
Yeah, I
to
know.
do that.
But
Right,
So-
and also, I just think where you're summarizing the good deed of opening up that area to more people, I don't think it matters. I think it's a good idea to say public transportation would be essential. Just don't designate where it's going to be.
right.
Okay, so you don't think the B-48, you wouldn't say the B-48 bus on Route 5?
You
Nah.
might say, for
No,
example,
not hardly.
yeah,
I don't
No, I
think
would-
that's our responsibility.
yeah, right. Just
Yeah.
say that part of the good wishes would be that public access would be simpler.
To be able to be available and accessible to the underserved community, you need transit everywhere. So that should be part of what they do, and there should be, access should be considered. Or
Again,
developed.
I don't have a strong opinion, but I'll just say that, the master planning effort will take us 5 years, right?
Yes.
And so people could pick up these recommendations and move on some of them quickly, right? So they might, so for instance, the Route 5 bus stop, they might move on that, quickly.
Yeah.
Consider,
Recommendation that
you
they
know-
might be able to move on. They won't, but I'm just saying, if we wait for the master plan, you're talking about 5 years. And I'm not advocating one way or the other. I just want us to think
yeah,
about
I
the implications
understood.
of what we do.
Yep,
I'll
I
try to
agree
word
with you.
something appropriately.
Yep.
To make it clear that it's of interest, we're not doing the planning forum for this. If they want me to, I will. It's what I do. But
There you go.
Bingo.
Thought you weren't accepting new projects.
there you go. See? Exactly.
How can Sue Ellen concentrate on what we're saying and still be whipping together a sweater or something?
A sleeve for a sweater, and honestly, it's all muscle memory. I don't even think about what my hands are doing.
I can't imagine what I would be creating if I was.
Even though I was looking. Hey, what do we all think of that movie on the water department? You guys get it?
I had seen it with you the first time, and I thought it was
We were able to see it, you guys?
Yeah.
I wasn't able to watch the whole thing, but I did. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I only started to watch it. I haven't had a chance to sit down and do that stuff.
Yeah, it's
I watched the whole thing, and part of it is, of course, not applicable to Whiting Street,
no.
but the whole
obviously,
thing is charming.
but it's all historical. I mean, even the people in the building there with the meters and the gauges and all that stuff, that's all non-existent today, I'm sure. Or with the fountain pens, signing checks and throwing them at each other.
Well, it's history, and I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
And the guy on the team of horses pulling out of the shed there, that was pretty cool.
Now, what I really loved is seeing people up there in suits and ties. I thought
Always, yeah.
Yeah, that
that
was
was a
the
dream.
Everybody went to work that way, no matter what you did.
That's funny.
They went to work with a tie.
yeah. I'm a forester and a wildlife biologist, and they used to all do that. They'd go out into the woods, and they'd work
Sure.
all day with a tie on.
I mean, even the guys that were, side of the road digging a hole, they had a tie underneath whatever else they had, which must have been kind of tough while working, but that's what they did.
Hey man, you look like a professional. Come on,
Yeah, that's it.
It was charming, and I loved it.
Yeah, I
So
did too.
thanks for taking the time to get that straightened out, and then
Exactly.
for Scott helping us set that up. So who ended up doing the work for you
Mike from
at the high school?
yeah.
That's
Well, I
good.
ended up, I emailed him, didn't get any response, and so I ended up calling Mark Todd, and he said, well, a lot of times this stuff goes to spam there. So he gave me his phone number, and as soon as I called him, bang, the next day it was done. So obviously he didn't get my email, but he was very, very happy to do it. And thank you very much. It was, and I suppose if you know what you're doing, maybe it's no big deal. But I mean, there was some, breakups in that movie thing too, that he put them all together. So I mean, there was some editing there as well.
Right, he would have had to spend hours on it, I mean, he would have had to.
From when he picked it up, it was done later that day. I mean, bing, bang, boom. It was like, going getting a pizza. But not for me. Yeah,
That's great.
very good. Thank him again.
All right, you bosses, what do you have for us next? What are our next steps?
So there's someone trying to come in. I'm not going to let him in.
Good.
Good.
I think you have to.
Yeah. None of they're sketchy,
Yeah, his name was really sketchy.
Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough for me.
His name was sketchy. Didn't seem like I needed to. So what's next, guys?
So I had kind of sent that list of things that we had talked, we kind of, we had the one meeting, and then Marlene, you had, things fell apart for you. And then,
Yes.
so we had, we had talked about appendices, and we had talked about, some things like that we wanted to pull together. We talked about a transmittal letter to the mayor.
Yep.
And to
Well, the transmittal letter, I'm not worried about writing until we've got the document done. But we did start putting together that list of paperwork you included. I had
Yep.
some of it
Sue Ellen
already
has
in
some of
my
it.
file, and Marlene now has it.
I have all Sue Ellen stuff. I will go through all my files off that list, Jeff, and see what I have and what I'm missing. The one
Okay.
thing we have to do is figure out a photo archive or what we want to do for that. I know we want to put a cover on the report of that, the archway.
Okay.
But then, we've got all those other beautiful pictures, and so we should decide if we want to add any pictures or how we want to add them. Because
Well,
I'm
I
thinking
think
that's
one of those maps that Harry had would be wonderful in there somewhere.
the one that showed it as all being Northampton.
Yeah.
And that could go with the history section.
Yeah, I think that would be, I also, maps are wonderful things, and to have historic maps, that's
I agree.
more wonderful.
Yeah, I've got a couple of maps. That's one of them for sure. And Jeff, you mentioned maybe a photo would be good to have an older one, and plus what it looks like today. I mean, if we decide on one of those old ones, I'd be glad to go up and snap a shot of what it looks like today.
Yeah, I think that, so that's a good idea. So we had the same, we talked about having the same vantage point.
I mean, yeah, I'd be happy to do that, as long as it's not the one on the top of the mountain looking down. I don't feel like climbing.
So
Yeah.
so my question is, physically, where on the report, is there going to be a separate section, or the photos inserted in the doc, or like a separate page? Or do you want me to try to, if it's like a format I can pick up and drop in, I can try to do that.
So I'll tell you what I was thinking. I was thinking we would have a cover photo and maybe 2 or 3 in the document, but probably not more than that, because one issue becomes, how big does the file become? We can't, so if we can't even, exchange it over email to send to people, we want to keep it limited for that reason. Of course you can, we can adjust the, how big the file, the picture files are ahead of time if we need to. So, but I was thinking, to kind of illustrate, to keep the document interesting, if we had a cover and maybe 3 other photos in the document, that might serve us well, just to keep people, as Sue Ellen keeps telling us, to not have just these big blobs of narrative that, you get lost in. So that's how I was thinking about it. I love the idea of a photo archive, but I think we have to be careful of, maybe that's a supplement or something. It wouldn't even be part of the regular appendices, because it could be really big. And then when we transmit things, we
Yeah,
can't
that's a great-
transmit it all, right?
Right.
So that's the only thing I'm thinking about. And I always think in these things, more isn't always better, right? We would include photographs that we really think, paint a picture of something we're trying to get across. And so I really liked the pictures of the dam when it was, an old stone dam. I thought that was really interesting that, this has gone through some generations of changes, over time, but yet it's still there and it's still serving Reservoir. And I think, that might be important. But so that's how I was thinking about it. But that's just how I was thinking about it. I don't know if you guys agree or
Yeah,
Well-
I would absolutely agree with Jeff on that.
I don't know.
And then the other issue is the appendices themselves. And frankly, again, I think less is better. And what we might do, for instance, is refer people to the Conservation Commission for the wetlands law, refer them to the Water Commission for Chapter 97, that kind of thing, without including the actual document, and leave out the entire body of the law. I'd rather see the pictures, because people are going to be much more interested, frankly, in seeing those and seeing the history.
Nowadays, we can have our citations in the bibliography that we referred to these things, and then you can have the link, right? And then they can go right there. So I agree 100%, Sean. There's no reason to have the 108 page, Massachusetts wetland.
Yeah, we can
protection
also
document.
give people an internet link.
Well, no, that's what I was saying. We can,
Yeah,
in the
that's exactly
citation,
how to
we
do
would
it.
have the citation of what it is.
And then the link.
The citation
wouldn't
itself,
Why
chapter.
wouldn't we do that also then for the report from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and to the PowerPoint presentation? I mean, if there's a website where all the files are, why couldn't we put like those things there too?
Well, so I think we're talking about something a little different there. So the links that we were referring to here would be the regular links for the Massachusetts articles,
Yeah.
right? And so versus what you're referring to is us having a site
Right.
someplace, and I don't know that we have such a site that's going to remain up. There probably is. We could probably arrange for something, but I don't have much hope that there would be long-term fidelity to that.
So like for one of the things here, Jeff, access to the public meeting records. So that'll be a link somewhere to a file, a cloud file the city has, right?
Yeah, and I think that's probably a question for Scott McPherson or someone like that. How we might have the public access link. Right now, I think that some people have told me they can get to them now. I don't even know how to get to.
No, me
Well, I
neither.
know I can get to them, the ones that were linked from my computer through Zoom. I can get to all of. And so there must be a way that Scott could set up that we could put into this, that he could give us to get people to those links without going through my computer, which I'm not about to have people do.
Oh yeah, right. We're not doing that. Scott,
What?
are you hearing us?
Yeah, what are you looking for?
So what we're talking about is our appendices and what we include in this, and what we are interested in is the actual links to the recordings, so that if people wanted to go back and listen to any of the previous meetings, is that going to be available someplace? How would we link to that? Like from our
Yeah, absolutely. It's all on YouTube right now on public links. If you give me 30 seconds, I can actually share it just so all of you have it right in front of you right now. And then Reservoir.
I think perhaps the most important of all of those is the public meeting link, which was last October.
Yep.
Let me just check. I just want to make sure I'm giving you the public link and not the admin link.
And Scott, just, if you were gonna have that, if we were gonna put that in a appendix or something, okay, right. How would you refer to that?
So that is a playlist of all of your meetings. And also, I'm going to, in the near future, but not the immediate future, I'll have a page on Holyoke Media's website that you can go to, and they'll all be listed there as well. So if you're finishing this report in the next 6 weeks to 2 months, I'd say use that YouTube link. If it's going to be longer than that, I can probably get you a Holyoke Media link, which will be a little cleaner.
Right. So I think that, we're thinking of this document as a long, that somebody might read it in 5 years. I don't know,
Mhm.
so we would at some point, want both.
Okay, great.
So, so if you can, that would be great. So if you can get back to us with that, that would be very
Yeah, absolutely. I have my developers working on the coding for the module right now, and I should have it done within the week. And so I'll probably start moving meetings over and posting them to our website late next week, early the following week. And I can prioritize you guys just to pound it right out quick because there's not a ton of meetings. And it would be the video with the agenda link directly, posted directly below it.
That's a great service, Scott. So thanks so much for
Thank
that.
you,
And
Scott.
that
no
timing is good. The timing is good for us.
So then we would want to physically attach the planning commission stuff and the other examples, the public meeting presentation, all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's in the public meeting.
Oh, yep, that'll be a public meeting.
So I still think, our that presentation, so there are a couple things about that, right? You as Sue Ellen said, they can see that in the public meeting by listening to that. But we could also have that in the appendix. It's only like 6 slides, right? And we could even condense, just the kind of the slides of the presentation,
Yeah,
and just in kind of a black and white, no back, so we just ought to think about it. I think it's worth having there, but quite frankly, we repeated a lot of that presentation in our report because quite frankly, that's what I built the report off of initially. So along with that article.
We intended to do that. That was why we set it up that way.
Sure. It kept us consistent. So at any rate, but it would be easy to do, Marlene, is all I'm saying. And so we just sort of think about it, okay, what does that look like as a 6-page appendix? Or something.
I'm just kind of suggesting that when it starts, now that we're doing editing stuff, I'm going to need like a little more assistance from everybody.
Well, of course, you're going to have to ask for it, and then you'll
When we show
see whatever level
Don't
of
want to
Editing, not my
hand a
strong
skills we might have.
Editing, not my thing.
I would like to make another suggestion. And Marlene, I'll edit with you as often as you need to or want me to. But I think perhaps we ought to have this in 2 formats. One that would be given to the mayor, the chairman of the city council, and maybe the library. And the rest of it in a shortened form that would go out to everybody. On the city council.
Okay.
So I'm not thinking about putting a 100-page document together for everybody in this world.
No.
And it's going to get that way if we don't watch the appendices very carefully.
And we should watch them very carefully. We want this to be very manageable, that people will want to read it, right?
Exactly.
And if they want to look a little deeper, they can find a little more information, but
Yeah,
not,
That's right.
it's not
and-
supposed to be exhaustive. But
Yeah,
we
I
did
think
spend over 2 years on this, and it ought to look like we did, you know?
Right.
I think we can give them all of the information as to where documents can be found. But I think that can be done on a couple of pages.
And do we want to, I think we ought to print, I mean, for the people that we're doing a hard copy for, I think we ought to do, if we're doing that photo of the archway on the cover, I think we should have somebody print that cover. So it doesn't look
Like we did it.
like we did.
You know, I think
Yeah.
we can make it look pretty sharp, given
Well-
the computers that we've got.
Right. I mean, we should try it ourselves first, and if we think that we need to, if we think it needs to be better, then, but
Then
some of them
we-
probably will turn out okay, you know, and some of them, you know, yeah, so we'll see.
We'll give
Easy
it
to
a
say
go.
sitting here, you know, right now, but
If
Part
we
of the
need to,
quality
we can get.
is based upon the paper you use too. You know,
Right.
you need a good quality photo paper, or whatever. I mean, it's gonna pop out a lot better than if you just use just regular generic paper.
Yeah, well, a good quality photo paper will make a wonderful cover.
Yes.
Yeah.
And use something a lot less expensive for the rest of the printing. We have to remember, we still do not have anything that looks like a budget.
right.
I knew say that one just started. But you're right.
That's true.
Well, I'll have to pitch in.
It's possible.
And don't let me forget, in the transmittal letter, we have to allude to the fact that this was done with no budget and with all of the typing, the printing, the finding of the documents, particularly the finding of all of the possible photographs and maps by digging ourselves. And we didn't exactly have staff help either.
Hmm.
So we may as well try to remember to be proud of ourselves when this letter gets written that we're all going to sign.
But just so you know, I didn't go out of the house finding any of that stuff. I have it all in my books and.
Yes, but you had to go through those books.
Yeah. I had to revisit some of my.
And you had to, you had to pick and choose what
Yeah.
would be the best to show
Yeah.
the aspects, the important aspects of what we were doing. Those things take time to do.
Oh, I know. I that's up my alley, so I didn't mind doing that at all.
Yeah, well, I think this has been up all of our alley and we've all been delighted to work on it, but
Yeah. I
still,
feel
it's man hours.
it's the longest committee I've ever been. And I've enjoyed it and enjoyed my colleagues immensely.
But yeah, so Sue Ellen and Marlene, are there other things in the report itself, the content, that you guys felt like, after you were editing today, that need work?
Well, I want to make those changes on that recommendation 3 to take out the Valley Bike Share and the transit stuff. Then Harry asked me on page, I'm going to guess, Harry, wait a minute.
Is it 5 to 6?
I'm trying to remember. I got everything thrown around here. Hold on.
Or- I think I found it.
Page 5 I got here for something. What was
It was on page 4.
the filtration?
Yep.
The filtration, okay.
So on page 4, during discussions with the Hoyok Water Works staff, it was noted that in the not so distant future, the regulatory agencies that oversee public water supply may require water filtration at the city reservoirs. What we said was, the sentence is, the filtration requirements will ensure that the Whiting Reservoir will maintain its standby public water supply status. This development, along with the coming spillway renovation project, had a huge financial commitment for the department city. Is that the right terminology to say the filtration requirements will ensure that Whiting's Reservoir will maintain its standby public water status, or is it not standby anymore if they do the filtration? Or what? I just want to make sure we say it correctly.
I think it's correct. I think it holds.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't, Dave, I don't think we want to say that we would filter the water. That's costing millions and millions of dollars. I mean, it's on standby the way it is. I think if you have a filter system there, you're online. I mean, why would you want to filter a standby reservoir?
Well,
Because by the time you maybe get to use it, maybe that filtration system is shot. You know, I think it's.
I think what it,
Word it a little different.
okay, I hear where you're going, but the idea that what's inevitable for the waterworks is that the Holyoke and maybe Quabbin have been the only places that haven't been forced to have filtration system, and it's inevitable that's going to happen to Holyoke. Now does that mean Whiting Street Reservoir is going to be part of it? That will be a decision that the water department will make, depending on what their needs are. When certainly it's going to be McLean, and certainly it's going to be in Southampton. I think it'll further enhance the water value, the water attribute of the Whiting Street Reservoir if they indeed add that to it.
So what we've left out though is we don't come out and say that it's likely that Whiting Street Reservoir may need to become a drinking water, a water source for the city, right? We don't say that, but yet we make the next jump, right? We make the next jump to the filtration, and so we've missed stating what Mr. Conti stated to us was that it was likely that the city of Holyoke will need that water in the future. And so we probably need to state that, because that's really what he was stating, not that the filtration was the next step, right?
Yeah.
So we could say that in our discussions with staff and others, that it's been indicated that it's very likely the city of Holyoke will need the Whiting Street Reservoir as a water source.
Correct.
And if that is the case, they will also likely need to consider filtration. That's probably how we should lay that, because it was missing. It bothered me, but I wasn't at the time I read it.
Yeah,
I didn't have time
I think,
to really think about it.
The revision is perfect.
So in our discussions with staff, the Hoyok Water Works, they noted it was indicated to them that the city of Holyoke would be required to build a filtration system. It was likely that the city would be required to build filtration at Whiting Street Reservoir.
Well, so I think what we should say up front first, Marlene, is that during discussions with HWW staff, that and I would people don't know what that acronym is, right? So I would maybe again, we probably if we recently said what it was, then we probably don't need it. But then I would say I'd use that similar sentence, but I'd say that in the not so distant future, the city of Holyoke may need the Whiting Street Reservoir as a water source. That would be the first sentence. And then the next sentence would possibly be that in order to be a water source, regulatory agencies, so then you could have that next sentence in there, right? Then you could have, once Whiting Street Reservoir becomes a water source, the regulatory agencies that oversee. So then you can use that other as it is, at
All
least.
right, I'll take a stab at it, and if I have a question, I'll bother you.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole point for it originally was simply, on my part, was simply to show people that these investments are being made, even one you don't want to make, both of them, and that's going to assure the high quality of the Holyoke, the asset of water in Holyoke. So
Okay,
I think you're okay. Take,
all right, I'll take a stab at making sure I do that appropriately, and I'll run it by you guys.
okay,
Yeah, where is the spillway discussion? The new, that the new spillway is, oh, it's right there.
yeah, I had put them together.
Good. No, that's good. Right. So that's perfect. That all fits
Yep.
together.
So those were the only questions that I still had in my head from Harry. And
So
from-
when you two editors looked through that, did the recommendations, did they need any work beyond what you've described already? For instance, recommendation 3 is much longer than the others. Do the others have enough, the recommendations at the end? Or do they need to be clearer, more embellished? The recommendation statements we worked on, and those are good, right? But the supporting information, did you guys find them enough?
Yeah, I mean, there was more in 3 than there was in some of the others, but I was comfortable with that.
Yeah, I mean, more is not better, right? But
Right.
was there enough to say, what we needed? Like two didn't have a ton, but 2, as we've all stated, kind of repeats 1.
Yes, it does.
It was for emphasis.
So I'm just, kind of checking off on my list. Marlene, did you find the deed? Do you have it like in your hand?
Do I have what? The deed? No, I do not have the deed. I haven't had a chance to bother Peter about going up there to look for it yet.
Okay.
I've been busy.
Marlene, will you tell, if Peter's going to get involved, will you tell him that my source was Mrs. Bronson, who lives on my street, who was the assistant down at the registry for years and years and years. And she was unable to find it.
Okay.
And if he wants to talk to Doris, she'd be happy to help out. She thought I should go to Northampton. I did. And Northampton pushed me to UMass, where the Northampton records are kept.
How many pages was the PVPC report?
Oh, I didn't count them. Marlene, did you? There were 2, the early report and then the second report.
Yep.
The early report, I think, was only 3 or 4 pages.
The first report was.
We're having trouble hearing you as you get further from your microphone.
Okay. One is 3 pages. One is 15. No. 17. 17 pages for one and 3 for the other.
Okay. So that's, getting to be a lot to have in the appendix. So we'll just have to think about it. But those are the kind of things, I think we want to think about a little bit, and that will determine, maybe we do want to have it in the appendix, but maybe the appendix gets only delivered to a few people, and can be accessed someplace. And and Harry, if you were to name how many photos you think would be appropriate to have in the photo archive, just, again, not to have just the best ones that really show, just to give me a ballpark.
Well, I think a few, but I think they want to be large enough so that they can be seen, because I've seen like a book that came out last year in the city. The author had a bunch of photos, but they were so small you might as well not even have had them. So, yeah, when you said three, three or five.
No, I'm thinking of 3 or 5 in the report, right? That's in the report.
Oh.
We might have a separate photo archive that might have, 20. Probably not. We probably don't need more than that, but we might, But that's, again, who knows what this is? I'm just, we're spitballing here. And so, but if you thought about that, but again, if we have something like that, we probably have to find some place, maybe again, Scott has an answer here, that, where we can have this so the public can access it. But we don't have that right now. So, you have to think about it. That's all.
Yeah, I think photos, if you have a certain section, more photos would certainly be better than 3 or 5. Yeah. 20.
Well, I like what you said, that have 3 to 5 in the document, and a nice little glossary that has 20. That would be really nice, and make them those different eras that you have. And really.
Right, so anyway, so that might be something we think about. But again, then that change, if we have like the full PVPC report, and Sue Ellen was alluding to this earlier, if this becomes a tome, right, then we can't even send it over email, right?
Yeah,
so
I didn't
even
want it to be
transmit it to
doc.
anyone. So it just changed. So we just have to think about this, and so maybe that means we just transmit the original report, and we have some place where this other stuff is. But we have compiled it, and we might think about what we want to do with it. That's all. And I'm just trying to have us think about it now while we're, Go ahead, Marlene, I'm sorry.
Kate's could we have it at the planning board, at the conservation commission?
It's possible, but the drives that we have, we like have a Google Drive. It really is not, we do have a website, and it might be, the city has a website, so we might be able to find out about that. Again, Scott, is this something you're aware of? How we, do we have resources available to us to post these on?
I think probably the person you want to talk to is Jeffrey Anderson Burgos.
Okay.
Because he administers the city website.
Okay. Good suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. There are also, I can tell you, there are plenty of free resources out there if he's unsure about it.
Okay. To know these things. Okay. So, and so there were a couple other things like that. The letter to the landowners is easy, right? That's a 1-page thing. That's in an appendix. That's easy, right? And again, the public meeting notice, we talked about having that in there just so, it should, it's 1 page. Most of that stuff's easy. Maybe our names and affiliations, it's 1 page. So those things, it just, when people go back to it, they know, they see that stuff there. And the deed, maybe you only have the cover of the first page of the deed, Marley. If you actually found the deed, we don't have to. Well,
They usually run 2 to 3 pages.
Right, but they can run a lot more. They can,
especially with an area like that.
If they're calling out all the meets and bounds, they can.
And I'm sure they did.
Right, so they can be. You can have 6 pages of meets and bounds alone. But at any rate, it's
I think maybe you just make a reference to the map book page.
Right. So the deed, would have that library and folio right there on top. So if we had the first page, well, but again, if it's only 5 pages, that's worth putting in.
Yeah, I agree.
That's no cost, right? So I'm just thinking about these things for us and get you guys feeling on it too. So
you're talking about 6 pages for the report. The transmittal letter is 7. A page with our names and affiliations is 8. The PVCA reports, one is 3 and one is 17. There's another 20 pages. What are we up to?
You're up to, well,
bounds.
and I think the report right now is like 11, so it's more than what you, and if we add photos, remember, that's gonna.
Oh, I hadn't gotten there yet.
Right. So, right, so we're
So
15
we're
pages.
talking-
I think we're, with the table of contents, I think we're 15 pages now without any appendices. That's about where I think we are now. That's a lot, right? And so, I mean,
It's
that's
an
not a lot.
awful
It's a good amount, right? That's a good amount. But, and that can be transmitted probably even with the pictures by email without too much problem. But when we add the appendices, which I don't think we should run away from, but we might want to send that separately. We might want to package it separately or have other options, or keep it really short. Like we might skip having in that appendix the 20 pages from the PVPC. They can still get to them, but it's someplace else. That's all but we need to think about it now, right? Because it's what somebody is going to have to work on each of these pieces.
Yeah, well, we did put together a bunch of these pages after we did our first editorializing, or editing, I should say. And certainly we haven't really started working on a list of appendices or numbering pages. But I think when we do, everybody is going to find we've got a 100-page document, which is the point I'm trying to make. And that's insane. That is absolutely insane.
Right.
My recommendation for the appendices would be where these things can be found rather than the actual document.
I
I
agree.
agree.
If we have an easy place to find them, that would be great. I'm
Yeah.
all good with that.
Good point. I think we're all in agreement to that. Because it's just overwhelming. Nobody agreed it anyway.
Right.
Except Albert.
Except
And
Albert.
where is Albert?
I don't know. I talked to him today. He's around. We're going for a bike ride tomorrow.
Nice.
Okay, well, I found the draft of the poster, and Marlene has that. But if he's got an original of the poster, we would be better off with that.
I might have it electronically.
Cool. And do we have the actual council order?
I have that.
No, I don't think we do.
No. I think
That's something we need to get from Jeff.
Yeah.
As an Anderson Burgos.
so. Simone, do you want to put together a list and let's talk to Jeffrey Anderson Burgos?
Marlene, I'm missing 3/4 of what you're saying.
Okay.
Get closer. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you can't see you now, though, you're in the sun.
Can't do both. We should put together a list and figure out how big it is and talk to Jeffrey.
I think you
Ask
said we should put together a list and get it to Jeffrey at Anderson Burgos,
That was
but
it.
I didn't hear the last.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
It's still hard to understand, Marlene.
I know. Maybe my phone quits, maybe my computer quits at 6.
So you guys, do you think you're done editing really? I mean, are you ready?
No,
You know,
I think we
once-
ought to go through it one more time, but that's just because I'm afraid of typos and things.
Yeah, I'm more worried about the content. Again, I don't want to see typos, but I want to make sure it really
Well, if you
says
have-
what we want.
If you have specific thinking, Jeff, pass it along.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I like where we are, actually. I'm
Yeah, I
comfortable
do.
with it.
I have
think
one
we-
little thing that I'll just send along to you rather than waste time.
So are you guys, so what do we need to do next? You know, that's the question. Or, you know, what, I don't want us to rest, you know, I want us to get this thing done.
I'll edit next week, over the next week, next few days.
Okay, just let us know what you need if you want us to do specific tasks.
Yeah.
But we don't want to be tripping over each other, so.
Yeah, I'll start looking at what I have for files and attachments and see if I have hard copies or electronic versions, and start looking at that stuff and see what I have and what I don't have.
Right, and, you know, create a table of contents, and in the table of contents, you know, we'd have the we'd list the appendices we're talking about. And then.
Harry, how about picking out, beside the picture of the gate, the stone gate, which
Yeah.
we'd like to use for the cover, at least one of those terrific maps you came up with. Could you
Yeah.
pick out what you would consider to be good photographs to use interspersed in the body of the report, and
Okay.
where you would suggest we put them?
Yeah, the map, when I was taking the picture of the map, I had it actually in a frame up on a wall in one of the bedrooms, and part of my silhouette you can see in there. So I have since taken it out of that and got the archival folder for it. So I'll probably have to redo that, so you don't, because if you really look close, you can see my shadow in it.
Maybe we like that, you know, then
Yeah,
you're really
maybe.
in the report.
It'd
Yeah,
be
that could be
Waiting
the,
Streets image in the background.
yeah, that could be the new shroud.
Yeah, exactly. It's the ghost of Mr. Whiting Street.
Yeah, who is that? Harry Craven, or is that Whiting Street?
All right.
So,
We might get- We
what
might
did you
get more readers that way.
what did you suggest I do with the gate? What was your question there?
Oh, I think that's the perfect cover.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted me to do something with it.
Yeah, and we can superimpose the name of the report at the bottom of that.
All right, sure.
I'll try to muck around with that and see how far I get.
Yeah, to see if any of them, you can even get them in the format and if they look
Yeah.
decent. If not, then, and so Marlene, are you going to reach out to Jeffrey?
I can, he doesn't know me from Adam.
You want me to call him? He's a
He
buddy of
knows you.
mine.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
What do you want me to ask?
Like
So-
where we can archive stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, is there a place that we can put these materials so that the public can
And
find,
find easy, right?
right? You know, we have appendices and related information and the report that we want the public to be able to find.
And maybe a photo glossary.
Right. And so, you know, that's question one. Question two would be, you know, can Jeffrey help us? You know, is there, so, you know, I guess I don't know where we turn for the photo, if we need help with the photos. I don't know how to do that myself. Is there anyone, so if we wanted to, you know, Harry, do you have ideas for if we need to print them, or I'm just not sure. I haven't looked at them to see what they would look like in the report yet.
Well, I think that's Mr. Hines. And Harry's already in touch with him. What's
With
his first name? Michael Hines, is it at the high school?
High school, yeah.
I think he'd be the person to talk to about
Is he
that.
just film media, or does he have expertise in print as well?
I have no idea. I think Scott's the one who gave us his name there the last time, and that's how we got because we didn't know how to get that VHS tape into something readable.
Right. So it sounds like he has mostly expertise with you know, well, he may with photos, but so Marlene's going to see what she can do, and then we'll just see what works, right? And then, I don't know what the next steps are with that. You know, I'm not good with Photoshop.
Well, you know, there's some, I do a lot of work at Paradise Copies. I've never had to do that kind of work, but I've seen all kinds of people come in with photographs and come out with these beautiful posters and stuff. So I think we can find people that'll do that. I can ask them in and out.
I can always check with Jim Armstrong and see,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
yeah. When
And-
that time comes, I think he can help us do that.
And then when do we want to update the council and the mayor that, that we're, give them a date when we want to try to finish this? Or do you want to just finish it and hand it over?
Let's finish it and then we'll,
Finish it, right.
All right, I'm on board with that.
To get to the finish line first.
And it does not, you guys, man, we've worked hard. It does not have to be perfect, though. It has to be good. It has to be
Right.
really good. It doesn't have to be perfect, right?
excuse me, it has to be excellent,
Okay.
but it
All
doesn't
right,
have to be
All right,
perfect.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to diminish our professionalism. Just don't want to let perfect be the enemy of the good.
No, as I said, it has to be excellent, but not perfect.
Okay. I like that.
Okay,
That's a sweet spot.
Right. I'm in Rhode Island next week. I'll be editing away.
when do you
Call
want
us
me
if
to
you
send?
need,
I got a
reach.
paragraph that I want to change, that's all. Little
Send it
part.
anytime. I'll
Okay,
have my computer with me. I'll be down there for the week.
okay, it's just little and then you can,
Yeah.
it won't make a big dent, but it's important.
And you got, and so Marlene, what you sent out most recently has all the edits you and Sue Ellen made.
Yeah. But it doesn't have all the things that Harry found or Dave is indicating need to be done.
Yeah,
And I think Marlene already took a shot at fixing some of that. But,
Yeah, I think she did.
all right, just tell us. I don't mind assignments if you guys, if you have things you need.
Wise and wording wise, and I'll reach back and I'll see where I am with appendices, and I'll look to everybody for help.
Okay, and I'll let you know what Jeffrey has to say.
Now, and Harry, I'll play around with those photos with you, that's fun.
All right. All right, we'll get together on that.
And then, in the meantime, I'll ask Paradise what they're all about, just for my own edification.
Yeah, I think we're going to want to hand copies to each of the city council members. And
Autograph.
certainly one to the mayor. And we'll probably think of a couple others like the library. So I'm figuring at least 15 copies of the major portions of this. So
With
if
the
you start
700 page,
asking
with the
about
700
cost-
page appendices.
Right. If you start asking about the number of copies or the cost for doing pictures, you might want to bear that in mind. We'll have
I
to
will. That's an excellent place to find out it, to just get an idea.
Great.
And we have to
Paradise
decide,
does beautiful work.
we have to decide which photos to use. Get a
Can,
certain amount of them and then knock it down to what we think is adequate.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, so Harry, I really appreciate you sending those. I do think something for all of us to do is just look at them and think where they might, where certain pictures might fit in the document.
yeah,
It helps
that's how it
tell-
works.
Helps
What-
tell our story.
What fits the dialogue, right?
I have some family photos there too.
Well, we like those, but
The only one that,
and some may work actually, but but that might.
the wedding picture, I have no idea who those people are.
You can't use it.
No idea. I know
Can't
that
use it.
Neil Doherty took it. That's all I know.
Yeah, but if we use something like that, we're gonna find out who it is. I've made that mistake. I made that mistake once in a ski brochure and I had to pay someone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking we shouldn't use it. I just want to throw that out.
As long as you're willing to pay them this time, Dave, it's fine.
Yeah,
I'll pay. Just so it isn't the same people.
hey, I was in one of your ski brochures. You didn't pay me.
Well, too late. It's expired.
Okay.
Statute's gone. But Sue Ellen would love to know who the person was that came after me for money. And someday.
I would love to know. That's true.
And I will tell you the next time we're together, okay? Because you're not even gonna be surprised, okay?
You know, that reminds me, I found an absolutely delightful picture of Lissa skiing at Mount Tom in cutoff jeans.
Yeah,
Remember those days?
I certainly do.
It had to be jeans or nothing. I mean, you didn't want to dress any other way. It got to be cold and wet and damp. That's the
No,
only
this
Where were
is
the
a bright,
ties? Where were the
sunshiny
ties
day.
and bowler
What?
hats?
What?
Where were the ties? And I thought we were, before
Oh, the
everybody
ties.
had
Well,
ties. And
That was
They were
after
in-
that. That was
They
after.
Oh,
were-
yeah, gotta have one of those.
Those were up at Mount Washington. You should go into the New England Ski Hall of Fame. They have wonderful photos, man, and posters, and everyone's wearing a tie.
turn of the century and not the last century. Right. I know.
All right. But I mean, right up till late, you'll be surprised to see some at the Springfield Ski Club, maybe in the 40s. Okay.
Yeah, that was the norm. Everybody, they weren't trying to show off. That was the way they dressed.
We need one of those pictures of people coming to work at the Reservoir in suit and tie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't have any.
that's what's,
Yeah.
some of those are great. We can make a picture out of some. Those are really fun.
Do
We'll
you guys, do
have a
we need to
picture.
set another meeting or
Oh,
are we
yeah.
just gonna knock this out?
Let's do it.
Let's do it
On the
while we're
12th, on the
together.
12th,
Hey,
right?
Let's
That's
see.
July 12th, I think. If we did it in 2 weeks.
I
Oh,
may be,
goodness.
I may be down south at that point too, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
July.
you're gonna have your technology assistant there with you anyway.
Well, I have a few of them down there then. Yeah, I'll
See,
probably.
so that's all it takes.
Yep, better than I am now.
All it takes. But be careful now, they might be listening.
yeah, then you're in trouble. Okay, when do you suggest?
You're gonna go for July 12th?
Yep,
Hey.
July 12th.
Tuesday, July 12th, Dave.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
5 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
very good.
In.
Good work, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
So
All right,
let's see
that's
what
great.
you're knitting now. I can't see what you're knitting. Lift it up. Oh my goodness.
It's
You
a
did all that?
sleeve.
Did all that in the hour?
No, I did this much.
Oh, okay.
We must have talked too much.
Yeah, you would have gotten further.
Hey, good seeing everybody. Thanks
Good night,
for all
everybody.
the work.
All right.
Thanks for all the work.
Thank you.
Great meeting.
Bye,
Great
guys.
meeting.
Everybody be well.
And thanks,
well.
Scott, as well.
Thank you,
Yes,
Scott.
indeed.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you, Scott.